All right, so I posted a link about a week ago that I was going to try a new experiment relative to water glassing of unwashed, clean farm fresh eggs. So our family has a lot of eggs, and we've got a bunch here that we're going to do. I've got some that have already been put in some jars. I'm going to walk you through the steps of what that's like. First thing is that it's important, and so let me explain what water glassing is first for just a second. And honestly, this is an experiment. So the reason that we're doing them in quart jars is because we want to be able to go through this experiment of ourselves and try them after a little while and see how they actually do. So we're going to, not instead of doing a big jug or a big bucket, we're going to do them in small. This is about a half a dozen eggs will fit into about a quart jar. And so we're just going to do, 5 or 10 quart jars, maybe a little more than that. And then we'll just wait a month and eat some, and wait 2 months and eat some, and maybe 6 months and eat some, and 9 months and 12 months. So water glassing is a way to take a raw egg and preserve it for a longer period of time. Chickens do not lay as many eggs during the winter time, and God made them that way. When the sun doesn't come up as much during the day, they quit laying, and it gets colder, they quit laying as much. And so we need a way to preserve those eggs. And right now during the springtime, we're getting a lot of eggs, and maybe more than we can use, so we end up giving them away. And this is one way we can try to preserve them. So I'm pretty excited about this. So basically, they say that 100% success at about 8 months. It may go up to 12 months, and there are some reports that these will last even as long as 2 years. We're going to find out. So if you go on this journey with me, I'm just going to do this real quick. So you can use glass jars, pickle jars, or whatever kind of jars that you want to use. Some people do use food-grade plastic. Right now, we're just doing small containers because we're doing this as an experiment, and then if it works like we think it will, we're going to do it more and more. Now, as I've done the research on this is something that was done a lot up into the 40s and 50s before really refrigeration became really popular. So this is a way to preserve eggs long term. So it's called water glassing. You basically need lime. Now this is not the fruit lime. This is actually a powdered lime. We got a food grade lime. There are other ways of doing it. We just went online. I'll post a link wherever I put this. Lime is called calcium hydroxide. I just got this right off of Amazon. It was recommended in one of the sources that I found, and so I would recommend going there. So basically what I'm going to do is, I'm just using a spoon because it's easier to put them in here. I'm just going to put 6 eggs up in this jar. Okay, let's try to see. Oh, maybe I'm doing this the wrong way here. Let me do this a little bit better. Oh goodness, there we go. Don't want any of them to break. All right, but this will be easier. Put them in there. Let's get a couple more. Now you got to make sure that these are not store-bought eggs, and the reason is that when they come out of the chicken, there is a film that the hen leaves on the egg. Store-bought eggs have been washed. If you use store-bought eggs to do this, you'll probably get bad eggs. So you need to leave, that film needs to stay on there. And here we go. Like, what was that? 7 eggs will fit into that one. I'm not going to push it too much. So there you go. There's another jar for us to do. Now, the ratio of lime to water is 1 ounce by weight of lime to 1 quart of water. So I'm going to just kind of look at this here. I'm going to put in 2 quarts of water. All right, there's 2 quarts of water. And I've got my little scale right here. And we're going to, let me zero it out here. All right, and we're gonna put 2 ounces of lime for those 2 quarts. So, by the way, lime is very caustic. So, it'll dry your hands out really well. I wouldn't play around with it a lot. Okay, just a little bit more. And I'm gonna scoop a little bit out. All right, perfect. So, and then I'm just gonna put that in there. Literally just whisk this stuff around. And we're going to pour them into make sure that it covers the egg. Now you'll notice that it settles a bit. I am whisking again. All right, here we go. Pouring it in again. And make sure it covers. Now, it will settle, and that's just fine. So you'll see here, these ones that are the ones that have already been done. And we'll just simply put lids on these and store them. We're going to label them with the date that we did it. So we've got all the bottles filled full of water. We've labeled these 4 tap water. We'll do distilled water a little bit later. And just, again, part of our experiment to see which is better. So we have plastic tops that we're going to use on these particular bottles. And then go ahead and label it. You put the date on there. In this case, we've also labeled it as tap water, because we're going to do an experiment between whether tap water works or we just need to use distilled water. And we'll do another video where we'll open these up in about a month. We'll open one of these up and cook them and fry them and eat them and see what they're like. So we've got all the bottles filled full of water. We've labeled these 4 tap water. We'll do distilled water a little bit later. And just, again, part of our experiment to see which is better. So we have plastic tops that we're going to use on these particular bottles. I don't think you should use metal with the lime. That's my opinion. And then go ahead and label it. You put the date on there. In this case, we've also labeled it as tap water, because we're going to do an experiment between whether tap water works or we just need to use distilled water. And we'll do another video where we'll open these up in about a month. We'll open one of these up and cook them and fry them and eat them and see what they're like.